So I'm Anka from The Upcoming, and we would like to ask you to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit more about your highlights of your career, if it's possible.
Hi, I'm Phedon Papamichael. I'm a cinematographer, and I'm here in beautiful Mallorca at the Evolution Festival that I was invited to, and I'm an Icon Award winner for the visual section of the festival, and happy to be here and happy to share whatever I can with this festival about my career and my life, and so you wanted to know a highlight of my career. There were so many great moments, but I think what's been very exciting recently is my collaboration with James Mangold, the director we have done 7 movies with, and our last movie being A Complete Unknown, the Bob Dylan biography, and that was a great experience. Whenever I do a music film, the combination of capturing a performer and the energy of an actor like Timothée, similar to when we did Walk the Line with Joaquin Phoenix. I think those were 2 of the most fun experiences. Like you get really drawn into by seeing, somebody like Timothée interpret Bob Dylan and being, so focused and dedicated to perfecting everything he does that it inspires you to do, the best you can. And I always feel like the performance tells the camera where to be, and you have to be reactive because they're playing performers. So it's not so much about pre-designing and storyboarding. It's more about being reactive and finding the little gems and gifts that they give you, and that's been 2 wonderful experiences. Yeah, but with Mangold we've had lots of fun also. And Ford vs Ferrari, I really loved that movie, and working with Christian Bale for the second time after we did 3:10 to Yuma, the Western also. So it's those all. And then Alexander Payne, I must say also, Sideways is one of my favorite movies. Still, it's a classic. Every time I see it, I go, it's so funny. And Nebraska was a beautiful experience with Brewster.
Sorry to interrupt you, but you got like a completely different approach from film to film.
Yes, I try not to, repeat the same pattern. I try to always find a language that fits the story the best, and I don't like to fall back on all the sort of the things I've learned, and I try to always come in with an preconceived notion of how to do it. Like I really like to have the set design and all the final things that are presented to me, the performances, how the actors move, their body language, the little expressions, that kind of dictates, how I find the best way to capture it.
How do you, so when a director approaches you for a project and you read the script, how do you preconceptualize, visualize?
The first impression is when I first read the script for the first time. That's like the strongest. That's when I do my most preconceiving, my most, like if I can read a script and I can see the movie kind of in my head, almost finished, like edited with music, and helps when I know who the cast is, then I know it's a movie that would be good for me to do. If I can't really see it, or if I'm struggling, and then I go, maybe I'm not the right guy for it. So it's really the first read is the most important, and then after that I really try to put it away, and I mull over the story subconsciously more in my mind. Like I don't really make very specific notes of how I want to do something, but I think about the movie a lot. But it's more thinking about it without necessarily thinking about how I'm going to do it. It's just like I try to sense what is the important, what is the reason for each scene, and what is the reason this is written like this, and then I kind of form it in my head. So when I'm on set, I'm I'm still pretty open to rediscovering what the actors actually do with it, and that's when we decide how to photograph it. Not really too much in pre-production, because there's so many things that happen on the set that you can never plan, and
That was actually my next question.
you can't. It'd be a shame to lock yourself in by being too rigid and not flexible to adjusting to what these actors bring to you. You have to be open and have a sense of be open to discovery and make the creative decisions then. So
That was actually my next question. I was about to ask you, like, did you have actually, especially shooting on location, like a particular challenge that you have to overcome, and how did you do that?
Well, I mean, location and day exteriors are always challenging because light changes, and it's very much, and that's where experience comes in. It's not like I've become a better cinematographer, but I think because I've been in so many situations, like I normally I can lay out the day really well. I can figure out when to shoot the wide shot and when to go to close-ups, and that's more like an experience thing. I'm also pretty fast. I try to not get too overproduced and overcomplicated with the technical aspect of it. I also want to give a lot of freedom to the actors and not restrict them so they can move, and that those are the challenges, that you don't dominate the workflow on the set with what you do and with your equipment. You want to create an environment for the director and the actors to be able to function freely. So
Exactly, because usually the moments of wait.
yeah. I tried to eliminate. We tried to really be able to have the actor come on set and start right away. Yeah.
Have you ever changed your approach doing a film because you thought that actually what you thought initially wasn't working exactly as you wanted?
Yeah, on every film you discover. You discover something. For example, let's say Nebraska. We had this idea of having very little coverage, a lot of sort of tableaus and mono, to convey the loneliness of this character and the vastness of the landscape and the poetry of the isolation. But then often, we see something, and we had planned, for example, to do another shot, and we go, no, this shot was perfect. Like, it told the whole story. Or the opposite is the case, where we planned only one shot, and I go, but look what he did. It's amazing, like his expression, and we should get a close-up of Bruce, So, I mean, you do adjust to, and every movie, it takes you a while, like typically the first week or 2 weeks, like on Sideways also, like, you find the language, the movie kind of tells you how to do it, and
This is actually amazing.
yeah, it's really beautiful to have a movie dictate. The same with like the performances of Joaquin and Timothy. Like it demands like that you move the camera in or you rotate around, because it dictates like how you need to cover it.
So you feel inspired on set.
All my inspiration mostly comes from the performance. Yeah.
I wanted to ask you actually, if you can give me 3 names, either directors or other cinematographers that actually inspired your work, especially at the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, in the beginning, I was very influenced by Italian neorealism. I mean, of course, Fellini and Antonioni, and but also Kurosawa and Ozu, the Japanese filmmakers. And then, growing up in Munich, I was very much influenced also by Fassbinder and sort of this reality, harder reality, and emotional power that films like John Cassavetes' Woman Under the Influence and Minnie Moscovich but Fassbinder, like Fear Eats Soul, and then there's of course Alice in the Cities, but Godard was probably my biggest influence. Somehow I just was in love with for cinematography. Robbie Miller was a big influence. Vittorio Storaro, of course, the great master, and Il Conformista in 1900, and then Raoul Coutard was a French cameraman who worked with Godard, and he did this movie Le Mépris, Contempt, and Brigitte Bardot, Fritz Lang, Michel Piccoli. It was shot in Capri in this beautiful house, Una Casa Come Me Malaparte, and then and that was where I said I want to do what this guy does, Raoul Coutard. He was a very big influence, and I go, I want to do that. And I wrote down his name as the first name I wrote down. Even before Godard, I was like, that's the guy. So, yeah.
And talking about that, like your inspiration were starting up, how do you translate that to the new generations?
Well, I always say, find.
A little bit about it, yes.
Yeah, find the people you love, create these groups, like there's many different kind of filmmakers. Find the people that have the same sensibility, same taste, want to make the same kind of movies, and form these families and form these, that's how a cinematographer cannot really do it without a director. It's always the great combos of Bertolucci Storaro or Robbie Miller in Vendors, or where you do your best work by but do what you love, find the projects that are closest to your heart, and then you will do the best work, and don't worry about the money really in the beginning. Like really try to do the things, and if you do good, eventually somebody will pay you for it. Don't go the other way around. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.